Here is a statistic that will make your blood run cold. About 70% of cheating wives are never caught by their husbands. But what is even more unsettling is this: the overwhelming majority still display obvious signs of guilt that their husbands completely miss. When women cheat, they don't just hide the affair itself. They also try to bury the emotional burden that comes after it. The problem is that guilt has a way of leaking out through behavior patterns that are surprisingly predictable. Your wife could be displaying every warning sign right in front of you, yet you keep overlooking them because you are searching for the wrong kind of evidence. You focus on checking her phone while ignoring the emotional and psychological changes happening openly before your eyes. Stop obsessing over finding direct proof of an affair, because guilt always leaves a fingerprint. Before we start, please let me know where you are watching from. It will be great to feel closer, regardless of how we are physically apart. Also, don't forget to like and comment on how you feel about this topic. Now let's get started. Sign 1: Changes in sleep patterns. One of the strongest signs often appears late at night, when she believes nobody is watching. Guilt affects sleep in surprisingly noticeable ways. You may start noticing that she stays awake long after bedtime, staring at the ceiling or tossing and turning restlessly. She might get up multiple times during the night, claiming she needs water or needs to use the bathroom, when in reality she may simply be trying to escape the discomfort of lying beside you while carrying a secret. She may also begin falling asleep on the couch unexpectedly, avoiding the shared bed because the emotional closeness feels overwhelming. Suddenly, she's relying on melatonin, sleeping pills, or other sleep aids she never needed before. And late at night, you might catch her endlessly scrolling through her phone at 2 or 3 in the morning. This isn't necessarily natural insomnia. Often, it is the mind refusing to quiet down. Psychologically, guilt has a way of turning the subconscious into an enemy. The brain keeps replaying the betrayal, imagining worst-case scenarios, rehearsing explanations, and cycling through fear and regret over and over again. So if her sleeping habits change dramatically without an obvious reason like stress, illness, or work pressure, it may signal that something deeper is weighing on her emotionally. Sign 2: Guilt expressed through gifts. This is where things become especially confusing for many men. A wife who is being unfaithful may suddenly start showering her husband with unexpected kindness, gifts, or attention. At first glance, it can seem like she is becoming more loving or invested in the relationship. But in reality, the motivation may be far more complicated. She might randomly cook your favorite dinner without any special occasion. She may surprise you with something you casually mentioned weeks ago, even though she normally wouldn't pay much attention to details like that. You could notice her becoming unusually affectionate in public, reaching for your hand, or acting more connected than she used to. You may also see her volunteering for chores she typically dislikes, offering to handle errands for you, bringing you coffee, or making small gestures that seem oddly deliberate. The important thing to understand is that this behavior may not be coming from genuine emotional closeness. Often, it is guilt trying to compensate for betrayal. In her mind, she may be unconsciously trying to make up for what she is hiding by doing extra good things for you. It is almost as if her conscience is keeping score. Every thoughtful act becomes an attempt to counterbalance the secret she is carrying behind your back. The difference between authentic affection and guilt-driven behavior is subtle but noticeable. Real love feels effortless and emotionally grounded. Guilt-inspired kindness can feel exaggerated, unnatural, or strangely timed, as though it is being performed rather than naturally expressed. So if your wife suddenly becomes unusually generous, attentive, or helpful for no obvious reason, especially if it is completely unlike her normal behavior, it may be worth paying closer attention. Sign 3: Practicing the confession. This is one of the most revealing because it shows how deeply guilt can affect you psychologically. A cheating wife may begin having strange conversations that sound almost like partial confessions, without ever fully admitting the truth. It is as if she were testing your reaction before deciding whether she could ever tell you what is really happening. You might hear her ask unusual hypothetical questions, such as, "What would you do if I ever," before abruptly stopping or changing the subject. She may mention dreams where she cheated, carefully watching your reaction as she talks. Another common pattern is bringing up stories about infidelity involving other people. She may say something like, "My friend told me about a woman who had an affair at work. I can't imagine why someone would do that. Could you ever forgive something like that?" These conversations are rarely random. On a subconscious level, she may be rehearsing the confession she is terrified to make. Part of her wants relief from the guilt, but another part fears the consequences of honesty. You may also notice her initiating serious discussions only to retreat from them moments later. She will say something like, "We need to talk," but then switch to a completely harmless topic instead. It is the internal battle between guilt pushing her toward honesty and fear pulling her back. Pay close attention to repeated questions about forgiveness, betrayal, second chances, or how you would react in certain situations. These aren't always casual conversations. Sometimes, they're an attempt to measure the emotional fallout of a truth she hopes never has to come out. Sign 4, the obsessive phone behavior. Most men focus on the obvious warning signs involving a phone, hidden passwords, secret messages, or guarding the screen. But there's another pattern that can be even more revealing, a strange, anxious relationship with the phone itself. It is not only about hiding it from you. It is about how emotionally attached and nervous she becomes around it, almost as if the device itself carries the weight of her secret. You may notice her constantly checking her phone even when there's been no notification, vibration, or sound. She picks it up, glances at it quickly, then sets it back down seconds later. During conversations, she may repeatedly type out messages only to erase them and start over again. It's as though she's carefully scripting every interaction, trying to find the perfect wording before sending anything. You will also notice a sudden reflex to close apps or lock the screen the moment you walk nearby, even if you weren't trying to look. Her phone may constantly stay face down on tables or cushions, even when no one else is around. Then there are the oddly convenient dead batteries. Anytime you casually ask to borrow her phone for something harmless, like checking directions or making a quick call, it somehow has no charge left. The deeper issue is psychological. Guilt makes her see the phone as dangerous evidence, something that could destroy her life if the wrong thing appears at the wrong moment. As a result, she becomes overly cautious and tense about managing what you might accidentally notice, even when you're not paying attention to the phone at all. Sign 5, the sudden obsession with cleaning. Most relationship advice misses this completely because they focus on obvious signs while ignoring the psychological ones. But guilt has a strange way of revealing itself, and one of the clearest signs can appear through compulsive cleaning habits. When a woman is hiding infidelity, the guilt often doesn't stay buried internally. Instead, it spills into her everyday behavior, especially through excessive cleaning that seems to appear out of nowhere. The stronger the guilt, the more intense the behavior can become. On a psychological level, it is as if she's trying to purify her conscience through physical actions. Her subconscious convinces her that making everything around her spotless might somehow erase the emotional stain she feels inside. Her mind starts operating on a pattern like this: if I clean enough, maybe I can undo what I have done. If I can control every speck of mess around me, maybe I can quiet the chaos inside me. What makes this noticeable is how extreme the cleaning becomes. It no longer feels normal or relaxing. Instead, it takes on an almost ritualistic quality filled with urgency and nervous energy. Let me break down exactly what this looks like, because the devil is in the details. She begins cleaning things that are already perfectly clean. Dishes get washed again even though they're spotless. Kitchen counters are scrubbed repeatedly throughout the same day. Closets and drawers that were already organized suddenly get rearranged all over again. Her laundry habits may also change dramatically. Clothes worn for only a short errand get washed immediately. Clean clothes sitting in drawers are rewashed for no clear reason. Towels, sheets, and blankets start being cleaned far more often than before. You may also notice an unusual fixation on surfaces. She constantly wipes down her phone screen, cleans mirrors repeatedly, or goes over the same table or countertop several times in a row, almost absent-mindedly. The emotional energy behind it is what stands out the most. This isn't someone calmly enjoying a tidy home. The cleaning feels tense, restless, and emotionally charged. She may appear anxious, irritated, or completely consumed by the task in an unhealthy way. Over time, the behavior usually intensifies. What begins as slightly more frequent cleaning slowly turns into an obsessive routine. And in many cases, she may not even recognize how extreme it has become. If you point it out, she will often explain it away with reasonable excuses like wanting the house to look nicer or simply feeling more productive lately. But the timing can be revealing. This kind of behavior often appears suddenly rather than developing naturally over months or years. It escalates quickly and may become especially intense after contact with the other person involved. At its core, this isn't simply about cleanliness or high standards. It's a form of emotional purging. The guilt becomes so heavy that the mind starts associating physical cleaning with emotional relief. Sign 6, the emotional pendulum. This is where emotional conflict becomes impossible to hide. A guilty wife may begin swinging between extremes in the way she treats you. One moment, she criticizes you harshly over things she once found charming or harmless. Next, she praises you excessively for basic actions. She may seem distant and irritated one day, then unusually clingy and affectionate the next. You might notice her becoming frustrated simply by your presence, questioning why you came home early, or acting bothered that you're around. Then suddenly, she'll become overly sweet, apologetic, or desperate for your attention. She may pick arguments over trivial things, only to reverse course later and become unusually caring or emotional. On another day, she may seem anxious about you leaving the house and look for excuses to keep you close. These emotional swings often feel intense and disconnected from the actual situation. According to this perspective, the behavior stems from inner conflict. She feels guilt and self-anger, but instead of processing them directly, those emotions spill into the relationship. Part of her still loves you, while another part feels unworthy of that love, creating a constant push-and-pull dynamic between closeness and distance.